Hello and welcome back to episode 5 of the LS400 build here. Today's video, we have two objectives. The number one thing, and it's the most important one, positive attitude and positive note. After the whole thing with episode 3 and then episode 4, where we discovered what happened with episode 3, and we were a little bit on the gloomy side, let's put it this way. We have decided what's done is done. We are happy. Let us move forward because I'm super excited about this car still. The second objective to today's video is, and I will have you please hold me very loosely to that, not 100% accurate, but try. We want to hear this engine run this episode. Got to do the oil pan, got to do the transmission pan, fill the fluids, put the radiator, she's ready to start. So fingers crossed that we get to that point, we'll see. Let's get right into it. Let's drain the engine oil. I wonder how this is gonna look like. I actually didn't look. When was the last time this oil was changed on this car? I'm already starting with super tight. I hope this is not gonna end up being a problem. No, it's not bad. This has a strange gasket to it. That's why. Drain the oil. So initially, in the initial quote of this car, not bad. I expected it to be worse. On the original coat of this car, I actually did not coat them to pull out the oil pan and reseal it. But here's how I feel about this. We got this far. I think we may have a small leak from the oil pan. Let's just get it off and replace it. And we're right here. We're doing an oil change anyway, so might as well. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do the transmission after that. The pan that is leaking pretty badly, and we'll get back to the radiator. Let's do that. While this drains, this is the transmission. This is the not transmission, the power steering line that we put on, and you guys did not see because staying positive. This is the one we actually just put on. Maybe this one. I think that's better. Let's just leave it like that. It's gonna be in our way. We'll work around it. While the oil drains, I'm going to start taking some of these bolts. Only thing that is in our way is this wire harness. Should be all of them. I left 2 on intentionally. I think I got all of them. Well, let's cap the pan, and folks, don't use gaskets like this. Not like this. Just use the original one. They're a few, like less than $2. And now we fight this one to come off. If you have a drain plug stuck, like a gasket, don't put a lot of pressure on it, just enough to hold the outside, and then spin it away. I think we already got it loose. Yeah, that's it. Now that we got it, though it's still draining, but I'm gonna take the pan out so we can finish the draining at a later time. Let's see if we get lucky with this pan. It wants to come off. All right. Think we're good? Are you ready to see inside of this engine? Let's see how it really is. Not bad at all. This is not bad at all. Now look inside. This looks very clean. That is really good. Let's look inside the pan. Whenever you pull an oil pan, you gotta look inside. Okay. That does not look good. Look how the beginning of sludge starts right here. There's actually moisture. And it settles down. And we have a piece here. That's a definite piece of something. Oh, that's sealer. Wonder if somebody's been here. That's a lot of stuff, but none of it Feels metallic. This is all sludge built up basically from the car sitting and sitting. You see how that looks like? Car sits, moisture builds up, and ends up here as this grimy sludge. Look at it. That's how it starts, folks. This is not a bad motor, but when you start seeing this stuff, you're not changing that oil enough, even though you're not putting miles on the car. But that's how that looks like. So we're going to recommend to this customer we become a little bit more proactive about our oil changes here, because this is starting to look really bad. Oil pickup, I just want to make sure it's clear, doesn't have any heavy debris. It looks brand new, like nothing. I'm gonna wipe down. Here's that dipstick tube. Just wipe down the obvious oil drips. I'm gonna clean this real quick, clean the pan, and we're ready to go back with it. So we're gonna apply the sealer. Pan's all clean, got all that sludge out, looks great. And put our sealer. Okay, I think that is good. Get my bolts ready. Put them right here. Always be ready when you're installing a pan before you put it up, because once you put it up, you don't have two hands. So we're gonna tack this one last time, because I see oil puddling up here. This is a problem for sealer. I don't see it anywhere else but here. So we're gonna have to wipe this down. Sure we get all that oil off. I'm gonna wipe the rest of it. Just make sure I don't have any debris. Wipe this one more time. And let's put the pan up. Gonna start there. It is. And we're gonna put a couple bolts. Tighten them, and then we'll get the rest. That's it. Now we just install the rest of the bolts. We're good. That's it. We're gonna leave everything, because I want to give my sealer maximum time to dry. So we're going to immediately move to our transmission pan. This is the next thing that has sealer. We're actually going to drain the fluid first. Let's see how the transmission fluid looks like. That does not look good. I gotta say it. That looks extremely brown. Didn't look like that when we pulled the dipstick, but let's hope for the best. This transmission has been serviced, but it's been a minute. That's unfortunately the way it is with some of these cars. Just people don't maintain them on time. This is what ends up happening. The bolts for the transmission pan, we're gonna take them off by hand, because these love to strip. So we don't want to at least break them loose by hand. Now let's give it a try. All right, I think we're good. We just have a few of them that we can't reach. Maybe with a 1/4 inch we can reach it. Yes. Okay, that's all of them. I'm gonna cap it. Again, we're dropping the pan, so I don't have to wait for it to completely finish. Doesn't matter. Put a new gasket here. I'm gonna take all the bolts out. Now that we got them loose. Do you see what I'm seeing? I'm seeing that this exhaust bracket is in our way. I think it's time to remove it. I think that would be the smart choice here. Just gotta say, if you're from the Midwest, this never happens. This is, we're experimenting new grounds where the exhaust on an old car like this, the bolt just comes right out. That's interesting. And it never happens. These are original bolts too. Usually we always replace them. I'm not going to replace them because they're the original bolts. Okay, what's holding us here? Just stuck. I don't know. Yeah, that's much better. I like that a lot better. Now we got room to clean it here. Get these bolts. Much better. I think we only have one. I left 2 bolts just so they can support it. And speaking of supporting it, this dipstick is going to give us a very hard time because this is going to be very hard. Because if you come around and show them this, the dipstick curves and it connects up there, right on top of the cat. So when we pull the pan out, we have to kind of walk it around the catalytic converter. I mean, if we have to, we could remove it, but I'm gonna go with we don't want to remove it if we don't have to. And without further ado, let's attempt this. There it is. Usually these have a lip at the end here. You just put a screwdriver and pop it down. This one popped completely. Take the bolts, it should just drop right out. You're gonna give me a shower, so I gotta work around the... Why are we stuck here? Oh, there it is. Now, we're loose on the pan. We're stuck on the dipstick. Is the dipstick gonna cooperate? Yes. Oh. I don't want to drain too much of that oil, because we gotta look. See how tricky this is gonna be going back? Let's look inside this pan, see what we got here. Whenever you remove a pan, always look inside of it, don't just dump it. This is a piece of sealer here. I don't see a lot. There's definitely debris. Fluid is not clean. Jose just got some trans fluid, he forgot. Got some trans fluid on the camera. It's okay, it's a well-oiled machine, I guess. Magnets don't look too bad. Just 2, 3 of them so far. We drain the fluid as we look at it. Not bad. Typical debris from clutches and whatnot, but I don't see heavy sludge or anything. Definitely discolored. So, filter. That filter is clean, but we're here. We got one already. Let's just take it down. replace it. All right, well, we have a lot of cleaning to do, and then we'll somehow have to reach up and replace the O-rings. You guys won't even be able to see this because I can't even see it. The O-ring there. So do you see how this is? This is a female end over here. The male end will have two O-rings, so it would seal here. But it's right behind the catalytic converter. Maybe I'll be able to get to it from here. Oh, we forgot to pull the dipstick. Lovely. We're gonna have to do that. It's gonna be fun. Should be, and I'm gonna very nervously say should be, and I just have a oil on my face. Should be one O-ring. Maybe I can see it from here. No, I can't. Yes, it is one O-ring. Cool. Let me clean the pan, clean this, and then we'll assemble it, let it dry, then maybe we'll do this mount. I'm gonna get this bracket out and clean it in the machine, but we'll change the trans mount as well. And then we're pretty much done with the sealer part. We start assembling the rest while these two dry, so we can add fluids and hopefully start the car. So I made an executive decision. Clean all this is all ready to go. We're gonna remove the transmission dipstick. I think that is the best way to both get the O-ring and get our pan to go in a little easier. And since there's only one bolt, which is removing it is simple, installing it is gonna be a whole different story. We'll find out. I think we're not going to be able to get it from the bottom. I think we're going to have to go at the top because I can't even reach it. The bottom line is it's loose, it's out of the way. Here's the rest of the dipstick. Well, maybe I can get it through here. No, we're going to have to get it out of the top. That's fine, it's out of our way. But before we put the pan, there's something you need to know about this style transmission. Actually, a lot of Toyota transmissions. If you come look here, I hope you can see it. This is the end of the manual shafts. There is a seal here. That seal loves to leak. So we're gonna change it while we are here. It's a super, extremely simple DIY job. Just access with the exhaust in the way. It's a little bit tricky. That's the only thing about it. And I'm actually gonna have to access it where the camera is. I gotta do the job. It's gonna be real difficult to see it. It's basically, you just gotta grab the edge of it. Let me see if I can get something a little better. I'm basically trying to pop it out. Easier, so I see how much fluid comes out as soon as I touch it. It's gonna be difficult to pop it out. I have a lot of leverage. Let's see. There it is. Emma. You can do it. There it goes. And this thing is like, there it is. Here's how that seal looks like. That's the old one. It was not sealing anymore. So, I'm gonna give it a quick clean. Then we get the new seal. I just install it. This one, you just kind of push it by hand. That's it. This is a super common leak on these. So there is another one on the other side, but for some reason, the other side, which has a lot more connected to it, there's a safety switch and whatnot, never leaks. It's always this one that leaks. So that's good. That's installed. Let's put our filter on. Here's our filter. So here's something about this. This is a very similar transmission to the LS430 pre-facelift. You don't have O-rings. You have these 3 cork gaskets that are already on the filter. Gotta install it. Torque spec for this one is 7. And clean it one more time, and then we'll apply our sealer, which is a different style sealer. But I'm gonna give this a quick initial wipe. We're gonna wipe it again and again and again. It's gonna keep dripping. We just wanna minimize what drips in our sealer. All right, let's go look at the oil pan. We cleaned it as best as possible. Unfortunately, with the red sealer, it is near impossible to get all the little edges out, short of replacing the pan. But I'm gonna do that for this. This is the red sealer. I'll give you the case. I think there was a part number. Here it is. Hope that is clear and visible. You use this for differentials and transmissions only for Toyota. The idea is it's a completely different sealer type. It is better resistant to transmission fluid, and it won't contaminate transmission fluid, and that's the main thing. The black fippage gets into the transmission fluid. It may cause issues. We don't want issues. That's ready to go. Let's apply it, and we'll go install the pan. So we're gonna give this one final wipe down. This is the final wipe down, so we gotta be sure that we got any remaining debris and fluid, which we are good. I'm gonna tack this down one last time so it wouldn't drip on the pan. All right, let's do it. You do a transmission pan on these, always get new bolts. I've seen a lot of problems if you don't use new bolts, or at least if you're not going to use new bolts, clean the old ones really well, and it's better not to take a risk. And the second thing you're going to do is you're going to torque it down to spec, because these love to strip out their bolts. So be careful. This is not going to be fun, but you got to run these bolts down by hand because you have a lot of sealer, and if you have too much, you can actually strip the thread and you are in a world of trouble, because that's the case of the transmission. Some of them, the through ones, were okay, but the ones that are not through, see this one, doesn't want to start right. If you run it with a gun, you might not feel it. This is super important that you do this parts by hand. These front ones are the danger ones. These are the ones you do not want to force them down. If they go smoothly and all of a sudden they stop, this one is good. You got to take them out and clear the opening, because this is the closed ones. Okay, let's torque them down. Start with this one. 65 inch-pounds is the torque spec. That's it. Now we can take a breather and say one thing. This car is officially oil leak free. All this is old stuff. We don't have any more oil leaks. This is all residual stuff which we will clean and re-clean and be cleaning for a while. While that part of the job is done, let's do the trans mount. And to do that, we're gonna need a special tool from the special tools drawer, which is a little piece of wood. And special tools. I'm gonna just support the transmission. I don't even need to push on it, just support it so you can take this mount out. So I take the bracket down and we'll see what we got. Go. Now the transmission is officially sitting on the special tool. Oh, there we go. This is gonna go into the machine to clean it, but let's get the mount out. This mount has 4 bolts. Let's see how bad this mount was. Let me find the new one. I noticed that it was, yeah, there we go. That is, I think they are supposed to be Bluetooth like that, but let's get the new mount to find out. Okay, I was wrong. This mount is completely done for. So here's the new mount, and you noticed how this rubber is actually attached on both sides. And this one is no longer attached. I think that should tell you the whole story. And then they are not even the same height. I mean, I'll stand them here. I'm gonna go ahead and say that this difference right here in height should tell you the whole story. That's, yeah. Try to get some of these stickers off. There we go. This mount I don't think has a direction. I don't see an arrow. Looks exactly the same. I am going to give these bolts a quick clean. So this mount's ready to go back on. Two things we're gonna do right now, which is the kind of the celebration. We're gonna clean these, because this is aluminum and this is aluminum. That's what this machine does best. Speaking of the machine, it's great. I love it. But it is very maintenance hungry, I gotta say that. And we were not very aware of that. Here's how this oily mess looks like before. And let's see how it turns out. This one is done. Let's get the second one. So we gotta be careful around these. I think this does come off. Yes, it does. Oop. And leave these to the side. Cotters. Let me clean them up and we'll see the final results. Doesn't this look amazing? You know, I just wish we find a way where we can take the whole car and just put it there. That would be awesome. So this is marked clearly front with an arrow. This one is kind of self-explanatory. We're gonna lift the transmission up a little bit. Let the transmission sit. Now that is a lot better than our Bluetooth mount. Whenever you have a transmission mount or an engine mount that is Bluetooth, that is not good. Let's go get that dipstick taken care of so we can officially wrap this part up and move on to the rest. Let's pull our dipstick. Here it is. So this dipstick, which we're gonna clean, has an O-ring right here. That's why we pulled it to replace it. So let me clean this up. We'll replace this O-ring, install it, then move on. So let's change this O-ring. Super simple. This old one comes out, which this one was not terrible, but we're here. We're gonna refresh it with a new one. There we go. We're gonna help it with a little bit of oil here. And can I see the new one? No, I knew this was gonna happen. So when I was cleaning the pan, some of the tension moved that pipe, so I'm gonna have to move it again because now it's literally sitting right against the exhaust manifold. Don't want that. Let me lift the car, move it, and then we'll install it, lift it, put the bolt, and we'll be done. Now that I got it corrected, let's see if we can install it. Where is it? It's right there. Maybe we are not in the right spot. Such a bad angle. We gotta keep going up, down to get it. Now it doesn't want to go in. Why don't you want to go in? Now, just imagine doing this when you have sealer on the pan and you're trying to install it and fight it. It's not the greatest design, I just gotta say. It does not want to go in. Why don't you want to go in? I'm missing something here. No. This is clean. So why don't you want to go in? It's not even close. Something is terribly wrong. What I'm thinking is, what could have possibly have gone wrong? I'm gonna clean this a little bit Just maybe the edge of entrance is too big. I don't see why, because this doesn't look bent or anything. It's just fighting us. It went right in. No problems at all. Well, we had to cut and gotta fix the car. Starting the bolt right now. So we had to shave the nose off of it a little bit. Then I was like, something ain't right, because it pulled right off of it. Actually, the pipe has got mushroomed somehow. When I was handling it, it must have moved and got pinched. So I had to put the pipe without the o-ring, slowly tap at it until it kind of reshaped the opening, and then went in. It's a little tight with the o-ring. So basically we get situations like that in filming. We got to try something, make sure it works, because we got to fix the car. That's the priority. And then take it out and we do it again on video. I'm not going to pull that out. Let's just say that for the record. I am not pulling that out. It's in. We're good. Take my word for it, please. Because I don't think that oil pan will take another pull out of that dipstick. It's one of those designs that they were just simply not thinking about it. Oh, how are you gonna line everything up? Well, lined up great at the factory. Yep. Well, not gonna work very well later on. So it's one of their not so brilliant designs. See, even the best cars made in the world, they still have the not so great ideas in them. This is part of the fun. Well, that part is done. Let's lift the car up. Let's get the last little details at the bottom and we start assembling here. The next part is gonna be this bracket, which turned out, again, amazing. I love this machine. I gotta say that one more time, because it is truly impressive how well it works. So, this is just like the LS430 bracket. Usually in rusty land, this bracket never wants to come off. I'm gonna wipe this so that way I have access to it. We got a lot of cleaning. When I was doing that transmission dipstick, I looked behind the cylinder head. It is literally completely and absolutely coated with oil, and that's not how this goes. Why are we not lining up anymore? Huh. Ah, there we go. No. Yes, no, maybe. No, it's not lined up. That's much better. I still can't believe these exhaust bolts just came right out. That never happens where we live. I guess this car is, of course, exception. This is what I was telling you about the design that is not brilliant. Why is this part of the transpan, Lexus? Why is this something that's not bolted on or something you can remove before you pull the pan? I've used this style until they basically got rid of the dipstick altogether. I mean, they found a solution, just not a good one. No dipstick. Yeah, that's not gonna happen like that. Okay, that part is done. Now, let's get this harness back. Now that we are done. There's a lot of cleaning to do on this car, so I'm not gonna, as long as it's not behind components, we're good. All right, I think this part is done. Let's lower it, put the radiator on, and I'll give you some news. Let's install our thermostat first. And then we're gonna get into the maze of the vacuum hoses. Some of them are not available, Some of them are, yeah, we have some problems there. One disaster at a time, I guess. Okay, that's done. Now let's dive into the vacuum hoses, because we were able to get some of them. And by some, I mean 2. Only 2. They both say air hose. One of them air hose number 3 and one of them air hose number 2. I am assuming these are for the power steering. Yeah, that looks about right. So this was attached to our power steering here. Think. Yes. No? Yes, maybe. Yes. So this is this one. It's look a little too long. Yeah, it's this one. And the other one is the other one. Still don't look right. Why is it not pre-bent, Lexus? Usually these are pre-bent. Is it this one or is it this one? No, it can't be this one. It has to be this one. It looks somewhat right. Looks a little bit too long. I wonder if this is the wrong one again. You have this one. That's too long. It's for evap. And this one, yeah, it has to be that one, because there is no other hose. So we're going to use the old clamps, because this literally just holds air. And this went like this onto the pump. So the short one goes on the outside, which is this one. And then the long one goes on the inside. This is old technology right here. These are the idle up hoses. So one of them has vacuum and the other one sends vacuum. So when the power steering pump goes to full pressure, when you're like at the end of the travel, it'll give extra vacuum to the intake, so the idle will be a little bit higher. The pump wouldn't kind of bring the engine idle down. Very old school stuff. This is the one that goes here. And then the other one, I think, goes into the air filter housing. We're just going to leave the clamp on it and leave it right there. And then this goes somewhere here. I'm going to go with it here. We'll find out later on. These hoses do go here. Okay, now that's 2 hoses out of the way. Get rid of them. I don't have any other hoses like this rock or this rock or the other rock that attaches to it, which means we're going to have to improvise on these, because we have to kind of put genericas that are not available at all. But before we do that, you guys did not see this because we had a little incident. Staying positive. When you install the power steering pump here, there is a hose that goes from here to here. It is discontinued. I pull this plug, the nice plug. Save it. We're going to use a generic power steering hose. I'm just worried about this curve kinking the line let me bring it and we'll see what happens. So this is just generic power steering hose. I really dislike using these, but we got no choice. Not available. Let's try again. There we go. That's much better. If I roll this like that, I think we would be good. Make it shorter, look even neater. I think right here, we cut it, should be good. My decision, and we're sticking with it. There we go. Let's not forget our clamps. And let's do the same thing on the reservoir. Didn't go all the way. Have to pull it out. Try again. That's usually the case with these generic hoses. They're just not quite the right size. Toyota loves to use strange sizes for their hoses. They're not strange in Japan, but here in the US, they're definitely strange. Okay. I like that because you don't want to make it way too short where it's gonna kind of kink and close the return. So I think we're good. Let's get our clamps on. All right. Well, that officially wraps up the power steering system. Now we have some more figuring out to do, and that is going to be this line. This, when I say line, I mean this rock. This hose is not going to go. So how about this? Before we do that, sorry, we're changing stuff on you because I'm going to need to know where these go, which means we're gonna have to assemble our air box. Let's put our radiator on so we're done with this part, and then we'll figure that out because that will be the last little stuff that I want to tie up, and then the engine is officially done, which is pretty cool. Let's put the radiator on. So let's swap everything off of the old radiator to the new radiator, which fortunately this radiator, of course, business as usual, discontinued, so we had to go with the Denso. That's the closest thing to original that we can get. One thing about Denso radiator that I'm noticing, I mean, they are very high quality and I really like them, but they could do their packing better on these radiators. I mean, the OEM ones always come really well packed. These, not so much. Let's swap our shroud first, which I am still looking for this piece. If you have it, you know of one, let me know because I really would love to complete this car complete back to OEM. So if you have one, do let us know. My tab stayed behind. Tab that goes right here. I'm gonna, since this is a top tab, I'll try to put some glue on this side once it's in the car, because of course shroud is discontinued. You're not gonna find another one. That's the problem. Having that on, we get the hose. It's the new radiator hose. These are still available, thankfully. And this goes like so. It does not have a paint mark, so we're gonna have to kind of match it. I think I like that. New clamps. I'm not gonna put this clamp yet because in case we need to move it once we're in the car. The last thing we gotta swap over is the sensor. So they give you this little plug. There's a temp sensor at the bottom here. This O-ring, unfortunately, I couldn't get, so we're gonna have to use the same one, which I really don't like to do, but we have no choice. I'd rather, and this is gonna be a statement right now, I'd rather use an old Toyota O-ring than put some generic O-ring that will leak after a day. So with that, this radiator is ready. The only thing I am wondering, yes, this is what I was looking for, the grommets that it sits on. They are here, so we are ready. Let's do it. I don't like how this is sitting. Oh no, it's sitting. That's it. What's going on here? Yes, that is supposed to be like that. I'm completely drawing a blank if this goes this side or the other side. This is simple enough. We will find out. They are not marked at all, and I don't recall. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. I think that's where it goes. That's for the big shroud that goes here. That's in. Let's get this hose in. Now the real question is, so I want you to see this. Which way do you think this hose goes? Let me move this rock out of the way. Do you think this hose goes like this? Or goes like this? I'm gonna give you a second to guess. If you put it like this gets kind of emulate that. That's not gonna go. So this goes like this. Now the fan is clear. So when you're not sure, use common sense in cases like this. So I want to say '08 Sequoia, like that generation Sequoia, second generation. You can actually put this hose upside down. We've had a car come in that was back in the dealership days with a massive coolant leak. I mean, unbelievable coolant leak. And it was actually someone that have put this hose backwards, and it was just ever so slightly rubbing, the fan was rubbing on it and it cut it. So things happen. You just gotta observe your surroundings. This part is done. Still gotta work on this. This hose is in. This hose, let's install it. Okay, let's get the stuff at the bottom hooked up, and we're pretty much done with this part. All we got is our air filter housing and whatnot, and the rocks. We're gonna connect our sensor, which, if you remember, when we originally pulled this radiator, I forgot it. And then we're gonna make sure our hose here is lined up, which it is. I'm gonna undo this clamp. This is how the caps come about that we use when we pull radiators. You get a new one, it'll have them. So I'm gonna connect these. I like this. This is turning out great. There's only one thing left. The original radiator comes with this little drain hose. If we can just find where it goes, right here. I always swap these. They actually come on the original radiator. They never come on the Denso. some of the value radiators, whatever. But this part is done. Let's lower it down. Let's put the intake, put the last hoses, and then basically the engine and transmission work is pretty much complete. All we got to do is just put some fluids and fire it up. Let's put the air filter housing, which small, 2 confessions. Even though this is YouTube and we can edit this out, but I forgot to order the air filter. That's confession number 1. Confession number 2. I don't exactly remember how this goes. Was this first or was this first? We're gonna find out right now. I have a feeling they both go together. So gonna get this air filter later. I don't think this is on the shelf, air filter. Let's just put it this way. I have a feeling these go together. How do you go? I don't remember this being this complicated. Only the strangest designs back these days. That's much better. Okay. Let's see if our theory is correct, that this goes. Yeah, it is. Cool. Now this rock is leaving us. I just can't put this back. Yeah. That used to be a hose one day. Goes here and here. Don't you want to line up? Oh, there we go. And here. That's better. Start some of these bolts. I just want to get this on so I can see what is what with the hoses. I always tell Jose this. Do you want the truth or you want the bedtime story? So which one do you want? The truth is, I don't remember how some of these vacuum hoses go. Bedtime story is, we got this. We got this. We got this far. I think we'll figure this part out. Okay. Mass airflow connector. This is the type of mass airflow you do not want to clean. Just don't. That's all I'll tell you. So now the first rock we're going to work with is this one. So I'm going to try to find a hose that is this size. I'll be back. This hose is probably overkill for this. This is a reinforced oil drain hose for like turbos and whatnot. But this is the only one in the correct size that I can find. So let's just hope this hose is so difficult to bend. The only thing I could find. If it doesn't work, then we'll get something else. It's not the prettiest hose on the planet, but there's one thing that is a guarantee. That hose will not become a rock anytime soon, because it is literally on vacation with what it's doing here. That's one. The next one is going to be this one and this one. This one goes right there. This one I already kind of started just to see. This one is good. The next one is going to be this one, which that's not going to come out easy. This is it, the last fight. Yeah, not going. I mean, if you're this strong, Mr. Hose, what do we do with you? Start some negotiations. There we go. So the hose I got is probably overkill for this. I say probably, more than likely, but I'd rather be on the safe side. And this is too small of a clamp because this hose is a lot heavier duty than this one, which means we're gonna have to improvise with some different clamps. Clamps have been located. We're gonna run this one. This one is good. I think I'm gonna want to run this one. Let's look at the old one. My old one actually ran underneath, so I'll run it right here. Right here. I think that works. And make a big turn. So I think right here. Problem with this is one side is very small and one side is very big, and I totally forgot to put the clamp this side. That still works. Yeah, don't go away, clamp. Not yet. I'm gonna take the thing off the clamp here. Okay, that side is good. Let's run it again here. And this, I am worried about this turn. Although this is not a fluid line, but still. I don't like this. And I unfortunately have to run it over here to avoid that big. I know we're gonna have a problem with this when the engine cover comes about, but yes, I don't like this. Fortunately, we may have to run this on the front, because right now the engine cover won't sit. If I leave it like this, it will work. I mean, we kind of have no choice. This hose is completely ripped here. Let's install it. I guess we'll figure out what we'll do with it at a later time. The next one, which I believe is the last one, two more. Actually, these were fine. Looking here, why do we have two of these? Because this was supposed to run here. Yes. These are fine. And I think what is causing our problem is this is a bit too much. I'm gonna spend some time, see if we can get a smaller, like less heavy duty hose than this, because this is a bit much, because I can't really run it here. I mean, this is how it runs, but when you put the cover is gonna go over this bolt. It's not gonna work. So we need something finer hose. I'm gonna see what we can find. Maybe I'll find one of these and just fabricate it for this. Let me see what we do with that till the next episode, because our hopes and dreams of starting this car and hearing it run, gonna have to put that on hold. Car comes first before us, because it has been probably 2 hours since we put the last sealer. Even though that's enough time, but I'd like to give this a little bit more time to dry up completely. What's the rush? We're not going anywhere. We want to make sure that this car is right, doesn't have any issues in the future. So I think we're gonna leave this episode right here. Before we end it though, here's what we have left. The next episode, I'm gonna figure out these hoses. We'll get right into filling it up with fluids. Hear it run, because I'm really curious. We're gonna get it to run, fully warm it up, put a cup of water, see how it runs. I mean, the last SC400 didn't even get mounts, didn't even get the amount of work that this got. and you could not even see the water shake when you rev it. I want to see how this one does with new mounts all around, and this is a lot less miles than that one. After that though, once we wrap up the engine stuff, we start the suspension. Go take it for a final drive, because after that we're pretty much in the home stretch, folks. I have another question for you before we wrap up the series. How are you liking this one? Do you want to see more series like this? I mean, this is not our car. Some of you have asked. This is a customer car. We're working on it. We wanted to document it because it's such a beautiful car, such a beautiful story for them to have it, to actually kind of be with us, to see what happened to their car. At the same time, we get the work done. Same time, you guys join us on the journey, because cars like this, I wish everything was available original, but sometimes we have to improvise and make things work so they would last. Folks, I hope this video was helpful and informative. I hope you learned something new. If you like it, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to the channel. Check out some other videos. Until the next video, folks, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and you have yourself a wonderful day. You're about to witness a moment that never happens. Okay, Jose rescued me, but I'm still in trouble here.